What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
and we're back to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater
WAAAGH. This is a video series where we answer your questions. Simply comment down below, put question in front of your question because it's easier for us to pick that out from the comment section below. But that is what the Mutant Beast 1232 did. That's a pretty cool username.
You talking about like the mutant X-Men the Beast or like a mutant beast?
I think it's just a mutant beast because the picture shows like
a mutant beast.
A mutant beast with wings, not Beast from the X-Men. His question is, if you could get Warhammer 40K to cross over with any other franchise, what would it be?
Yu-Gi-Oh! No, that'd just be weird. The only thing that really makes sense to me is probably Halo. Like the whole Halo universe.
Yeah, because in order to have a good crossover, you would have to have competing or military organizations or just like worlds. And I think the only, or one of the only franchises that can compete with the military power of the Imperium, because you have to compare humans to humans, that's what people are going to want to see, is Halo, right?
Right, because you've got the, I believe they're called the UNSC, which is essentially the Imperial Guard. I don't think there's that many humans in the Halo,
universe or galaxy.
Yeah, but I feel like they're a little bit more, like they got hardier weapons and stuff. Like, I played Halo 1, 2, and a little bit of 3, but Halo 2 was my bread and butter, and the humans there seemed kind of competent in fighting off the Covenant forces. So I feel like, since they're doing a good job defending themselves, they could probably beat, or if not, give the Imperial Guard a run for their money.
Because they fight the same kind of way, right? Attrition.
Attrition wars.
And you can make the argument that, because you make the comparison to Flood and Tyranids sometimes. Yes. People do that.
Yeah.
But the Tyranids, I feel like the hive mind, it's like an animalistic military. It uses military tactics that are kind of animalistic in terms of evolving and stuff, but the Flood, they were controlled by,
there's like this huge, I forgot what it's called.
Yeah,
there's like a plant cabbage thing.
Yeah. So even the villain, I feel, in Halo is a little more intelligent in the way that it actually fights. It doesn't just send in like a hive fleet and just destroys. And then, of course, Spartans and Space Marines.
Yes, that is a heated debate throughout the entire interwebs. Who would win in a fight?
And, I mean, I think it would be a close one. Ultimately, I have to say, give it to the Space Marine, but...
I feel like the Space Marine armor is better than Spartan armor. However, I feel like, for example, Master Chief. That is the one guy we can 100% compare and contrast to other guys. Like, yeah, we could play as other Spartans in like other games, but seeing all the stuff that Master Chief has done by himself, yeah, he's had a little bit of help here and there, but overall, he's like really capable of doing a lot of damage, taking down entire like fleets and whatnot. But when you're pitted up against a Space Marine, I mean, Space Marines are supposed to be really, really good. Like, for example, in the game Space Marine for the PS3, you're only using 3 Space Marines and you're sent out to combat a whole orc invasion. So that kind of gives you a little bit of comparison as to, you know, three Marines taking on a whole orc invasion, and then you're playing as Master Chief, 1 Spartan taking on essentially the Flood, you know, the Covenant, all that stuff.
Yeah. Comment down below. What do you guys think? It's a tough one.
Yeah, definitely. Power Sword or
what is that?
I forgot what it's called.
Energy sword?
Something like that. But like after a few hits, it like dies out. So.
Yeah. The other thing that sucks though when you're comparing the two, I'm gonna throw that out there because I know you guys are gonna mention it. The warp and the powers that the warp gives humanity in Warhammer 40K is not. It doesn't exist in like Halo. There is no psychic powers in Halo as far as I know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to see the crossover. Next question.
This one's by Brandon Harden. How is life in the Segmentum Ultima compared to the rest of the Imperium? Is it liberating and fulfilling like the Tau pretend to be, or is it a soul-crushing parody of life? like most of the Imperium.
Check out our horrible realities of the Tau life, and then check out our, I think it's the daily life of the Tau Empire, or why the Tau Empire is better than the Imperium. You'll get a better understanding of that.
Heresy is what it is.
But a quick synopsis, yes and no. Right?
Yeah, like anything, there you've got your ups and downs, but I feel like you have a little bit more downs than ups. Kind of like Chutes and Ladders. You're going to go down most of the time when you play the game instead of going up.
And he was saying, comparing the Tau to the Imperium.
Yeah, the Ultima Segmentum, that kind of life, and the tower in that area of space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next question comes from, so before we move on, another thing too I want to mention is, because we've made this comparison in these videos before, comparing the Tau to the Tau life to like Imperial life, even in the Ultima Segmentum, which is like protected by the Ultramarines and it's supposed to be better than the rest of the Imperium, it would be like taking an individual from North Korea, questioning him, somebody who is successful and loyal to the regime in North Korea, comparing it to somebody who is like loyal, successful, and here in America. So it's difficult to compare because it's not like apples to apples in a way. The mentality of somebody who lives in a communist regime is going to be completely different, because they would value security, like financial security, and like they're guaranteed to have a ration of food every single day. Nobody goes hungry. Nobody lacks education in North Korea. We could argue about it or whatever, but for the rich in North Korea, or the wealthy, or the higher class, even though there's supposed to be no classes, but anyways, to that person, they value that over individual freedoms, whereas here in America, we could see homeless people in the street. That doesn't bother us as much because we know that you have individual freedom, and technically he could just go get a job. I mean, there might be something stopping him, but I think like the Tau Empire is like North Korea, the Imperium is like here in America. So it's different mentalities too, if that makes sense.
Comment down below.
Yeah.
Which it happens almost every video, but yeah.
Yeah.
This one is by Owen Wolfieson. It's a lot of wolves. Can the Sound Alchemist do a video on his paper on individuality, please? Surprisingly, you're not the first person to ask this. However, I can't find it. I had it on a flash drive with all my other papers and stuff, and I can't find that flash drive. So I'll give you a quick rundown. So basically, I'm talking about how every person is an individual based on their values, their beliefs, their upbringing, their exact moment in time, space, like perception-wise. Like even though Gersh and me were right here looking at the camera, my perception is completely different than what he's looking because of the way our bodies were created. His pupils may absorb, 0.0001% more of a certain color coming in. He's also on this side, I'm on this side, different angles and whatnot. And because of that, we're all different. But since everybody is different, doesn't that kind of mean that, like, since everybody is one thing, it's weird. It gets deeper in there. I'll see if I can find it, guys.
That sounds interesting.
It's not. It's 15 pages of just whatever,
Because you did it the night before?
No, actually, this was one of the papers where I actually took like a whole week. I did like 3 pages a day, and went back and edited it and whatnot.
Damn, I don't think I've ever done that with anything.
I've never done that until that class. That one and only class I've only done it. Like classes after that, I never did it. Classes before, no.
You know what's funny? Because like when we were growing up, I hated English classes, and I thought I would never fucking use this type of information. But now that I'm making the scripts of like the horrible realities and the daily life, I notice that the videos or the scripts where I go back, reread, and then edit again after I've completed it, those do better in terms of views and in terms of like viewer response than the ones that I just like create right before I film it and then just put it out there. So it's like, it is better to proofread, even though nobody likes to do it. Now I have to do it in order to get just better content out there.
Right. It's like I should have taken all those speech classes back in the day.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it wasn't part of my requirements for nursing or whatever. So,
So you're like, fuck it.
it doesn't matter how you speak as long as you take care of this guy. I'm like, okay, I guess. But how did we get on this topic?
We were talking about your
the paper. Yeah.
Next question comes from Mandalore the Hunter. A fam.
Hey.
Is it actually true that all suits of Terminator armor have a piece of the Emperor in it?
We talked about this before, but that little cross shield thing they have, their honor badge or whatever it is.
You gave it a name.
Crux
There you go.
Terminatus.
Mm-hmm.
That has a little piece of it, of the Emperor's.
So yes.
Yeah.
Next question comes from. Do you have one?
Yeah, Rodney Stillwell. It's been a while, man. But here's his question. How high is Gersh and on what? LOL. But I was a military nurse for 21 years with the nation's Corps. I'm a corpsman, and Gersh is right. 1/3 of your brain is in your stomach.
Boom.
That's why when you take opioid pain meds, you feel them faster. What Primarchs eat besides Cece's Pizza?
Little C. Oh, I think we've answered this, haven't we? No, we haven't because okay, no.
Yeah.
I think I probably read it, but okay. So, what do Space Marines eat? Just like military rations, and they eat very little. They only have to eat. I mean, when they're on their daily routines, on their or what is it called, their fortress monasteries, they have lunch, or they have dinner and lunch every day, like normal people. But in reality, they don't need to do that. Space Marine can go a very long time without drinking or eating.
Isn't it true that when they eat something, they kind of gain the memories of whatever they're eating?
Yeah, most Space Marines, there's like a couple that have a mutated whatever, and they can't do that. But they could also spit acid.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then as far as your other question, I am high off life. And thank you for backing me up on that whole thing. Is that why butt chugging gets you drunker?
Because you're absorbing it directly through your intestines?
Oh, I was going to say something else.
Oh.
Next question.
Bruva Michael. How intelligent was the stomach brain of the Emperor?
It was more powerful than anything that has ever existed because the stomach of the Emperor was psychic. So if it wanted to eat like a cheeseburger, it would just think about it and like the warp would materialize a cheeseburger, a Krabby Patty.
Krabby Patty.
In his stomach. There you go. Those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions, comment down below. If we didn't get to your question, comment down below because we will answer it next week. We do this 4 times a week because we love you guys.
That's right. We get a lot of these questions. So as always, guys, don't forget, I'm Sound Alchemist.
Gersh1.
And we are out of here.